With Citizenship and Immigration Canada making it increasingly difficult to speak to an officer, there are few places to turn for information that can be relied upon.
The Canadian Immigration Podcast was created to fill this void by offering the latest information on Canadian law, policy, and practice.
Please welcome ex-immigration officer and Canadian immigration lawyer, Mark Holthe.
As he answers a wide variety of immigration questions and shares practical tips and guidance to help you along your way.
Welcome to the Canadian Immigration Answers podcast today, July the 30th, 2015. Today's question comes from Maria, and Maria has a brother in Portugal. This is near and dear to my heart as I spent 2 years as a young missionary in Portugal, where I learned Portuguese and had an opportunity to really get to know the people in the country and develop a love for that beautiful location. So thank you, Maria, for sending this question. She asks, I'm a Canadian citizen. I have a home. I work. Can I bring my brother to be legal in Canada? He is 55 years old. So, Maria, what you're asking is, can you sponsor a family member to become a permanent resident of Canada? The family members that are included within the family class are spouses, partners, dependent children, parents, and grandparents. It also includes adopted children and what the government determines and defines as other eligible relatives. So in the case of your brother, he would need to fall under the classification of other eligible relatives. And essentially, in order for you to be able to sponsor him, you would need to be defined as what us within the immigration ranks would commonly refer to as a lonely Canadian. In other words, you would need to show that you do not have a spouse, a common law partner, conjugal partner, or a son, daughter, parent, grandparent, brother or sister, or uncle, aunt, nephew, or niece, a family member that's living with you in Canada, or that they themselves is a Canadian citizen, permanent resident of Canada. So if you are a lonely Canadian, then it may be possible to sponsor your brother. However, if you're not, and you do have family members in Canada, then the options that are available for you are quite limited. So, Maria, I wish I had good news for you. But in these circumstances, your brother would probably need to explore individual options for immigration. And for the most part, those would be under the economic class. And they would include, to a large extent, the permanent resident category within the new express entry regime that was instituted at the beginning of this year in January of 2015. So with all of the people who have immigrated to Canada and made Canada their home and have been able to really be blessed because of this opportunity, it's only natural to want to include your extended family within this great country that we love. Unfortunately, because of the current immigration policy, those options are quite restricted. So your brother would have to consider possibly obtaining a work permit to work for a company and then transition to permanent residence. But that's a whole different question. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Maria, for your question. And we'll see you all again when we address the next question from one of our contributors.
Thank you for listening to the Canadian Immigration Podcast, your trusted source for information on Canadian law, policy, and practice.
If you would like to contribute a question for future podcasts or wish to set up a legal consultation with Mark, please visit www.ht-llp.com.
Thank you for listening to the Canadian Immigration Podcast, your trusted source for information on Canadian law, policy, and practice.
If you would like to contribute a question for future podcasts or wish to set up a legal consultation with Mark, please visit www.ht-llp.com.